Hi, almost everyone is watching my channel without a subscription. Please support me and subscribe. I release videos every day for you. Story 1. A weightless woman cheated on me with her boss during a business trip. I broke off the engagement and last week I 25 meters. Found out that my fiancée 24th cheated with her boss. I'm not sure of his age, but he's in his mid-40s. I also know he's married and he has 3 kids. This happened last November on a work trip while out of town. They had sex 3 times. How do I know? Well, her boss's wife messaged me on Facebook and told me. She's also provided me with screenshots of texts and emails between them. Graphic discussions about how they cheated on us. Also how they got over on us, and they joke about it. But then, she'll tell him in the same texts that she loves me, so this can never come out. The boss's wife, who seems very sweet, I've met her at company functions before, is understandably enraged and heartbroken, and is having him served with divorce papers tomorrow. She's also going to drop a friendly email to their HR department. Last week I 25 meters, found out that my fiancée 24th cheated with her boss. I'm not sure of his age, but he's in his mid-40s. I also know he's married and he has 3 kids. This happened last November on a work trip while out of town. They had sex 3 times. How do I know? Well, her boss's wife messaged me on Facebook and told me. She's also provided me with screenshots of texts and emails between them. Graphic discussions about how they cheated on us. Also how they got over on us, and they joke about it. But then, she'll tell him in the same texts that she loves me, so this can never come out. The boss's wife, who seems very sweet. I've met her at CSO. I'm sitting here on my phone typing this, and she's across from me on the sofa on the computer planning a honeymoon trip, for after a wedding she has no idea is never going to happen. She's completely oblivious to the fact that her life is going to fall apart tomorrow. I don't feel any sympathy at all, since mine fell apart last week, and every time I read those texts and emails, I feel like someone is sticking a knife in my heart. 3 years down the drain. I'm just thankful I found out before we got married. I guess there's that to be thankful for. She has no idea, but I took a vacation day tomorrow. After she leaves for work, I'm going to go around my place and collect up all of her stuff, box it up, and have it sitting by the door. Then I have to figure out if I can get any of the money I've already laid out for the wedding back. It was supposed to happen in October, but yeah, that's not happening. And when she comes home, I'm going to throw her out of my apartment and out of my life. Company functions before, is understandably enraged and heartbroken, and is having him served with divorce papers tomorrow. She's also going to drop a friendly email to their HR department. I've debated posting all those screenshots on her Facebook page, but my sister talked me out of it. I also debated calling her parents. I feel bad for them as they are such great people and I'm going to miss her family. They've accepted me as one of their own and I don't know what they're going to say. But I decided that she can explain herself to them. I don't want to hear her excuses or her lies. At this point, I just want her out of my life so I can figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the rest of my life. UPGATE. I posted a more detailed update in the comments, but here are a few points. Sorry, I'm really getting bombed with phone calls and texts right now from family and friends. Her parents are aware. I spoke with her mother. I'm assuming the wife did contact HR because my ex told me she needed to meet with them today when we spoke on the phone. Both my sister and her mother said they'd come to my place today whenever my ex gets home. I'm definitely asking for my ring back. Thank you for all the kind and supportive messages I've received. Even the girl who sent me pictures of herself in lingerie. Very nice gesture, but that's the last thing on my mind right now. If I haven't answered, it's because I'm dealing with a lot right now. Update 2. She's gone. Came with her mom and best friend and got some of her stuff. Asked if we could speak alone and I said that wasn't a good idea. For those of you who were wondering, I did get the ring back, so there's that at least. Longer update is in the comments. Another update. Well, she's gone. She did show up with her mom and her best friend in tow. My sister was there. No screaming, no yelling. She asked if I could just speak to her alone, and I told her that wouldn't be a good idea. I said everything she needed to say she said in her text messages with her boyfriend. Of course, the tears started and her mom said that they'd make this as quick as possible. So her and her friend went and got some of her stuff. Enough for a day or two. While she was gone, her mom apologized to me and said she didn't raise her daughter this way. And she asked if the guy is really married, so I said yeah, had married. Her mom seems pretty shattered by this whole thing. So as they got ready to leave, I asked what about my ring, since it doesn't seem to mean all that much to you. Her friend opened her mouth like she was going to say something, and I shot her a look, and she immediately shut her mouth. I wouldn't take any bet in Vegas that her friend didn't know what she did this whole time. She covered her hand like she wasn't going to give me the ring, and her mom said, "Give him the goddamn ring." So she handed her mom the ring, and her mom gave it to me and again told me how sorry she is. I just dropped it on my coffee table. I don't even want to look at it. I guess she's going to come back for the rest of her stuff tomorrow with her dad. My sister said she's like to pull the little asterisk 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 hair out of her head. Her words, not mine. But right now, I'm so beaten down by all this, I just want to lay down and sleep. Story 2. I, 29F, am considering ending my engagement to my fiancée, 32M, over something that my friend, 31M, told me, but I'm not sure if I'd be making a mistake. So I have a friend, Clark, who I've known forever. We grew up together. Clark's dad died recently, and I've been helping him to clean out the house. And this weekend we found an engagement ring in his dad's stuff. Clark told me that it was a ring he bought for me back when he was in college and was going to give me when I graduated high school. But his dad found out and forbid him and took the ring away from him. And so he never asked me to marry him and never told me about it at all until now. So the thing is that I did used to have a pretty big crush on Clark when we were kids, but I got over it since I never thought I had a shot with him. Since he told me that he almost proposed to me, all I've been able to think about is how my life would have turned out if that had happened. I can't stop wondering if Clark is still interested in me now, and I feel like he might be, because he said that he's always regretted not asking me to marry him, because he was too scared of getting cut off to stand up to his dad, and he did also tell me that I could keep the ring now if I wanted it. But I feel like doing anything anywhere close to pursuing anything with Clark, even just talking to him about how he feels, is basically cheating on my fiancé, and the only ethical thing to do is to end things with him first. But until this happened, I've been happy with my fiancé, and I'm not sure if I'm just tempted to act rashly because lately things have been stressful. We've been together for 2 years and we got engaged last October, so we just started wedding planning, which has frankly been pretty awful, and I'm not sure how much that's been influencing my feelings. But on the other hand, I'm wondering if the fact that I'm having cold feet in any sense maybe means it's a good idea to take a step back. Update. So my post got removed, and I don't think there's really any point trying to post to the subreddit again anyway. So I'm just going to make an update here like the sidebar suggested, since people have been sending me messages about it. But basically all that's happened so far is that I wasn't sure what I wanted to say to my fiancés, so I went to my parents' house so that I could think about it for a while longer. My mom at one point started asking me wedding planning questions, which led to a conversation where I ended up telling her that I don't want to get married anymore. She's actually being really supportive of this because she agrees that I shouldn't marry my fiancé, but because of issues that she said she's been noticing about his family. So right now, I'm staying at my parents' house. My mom told my fiancé that I'm sick so that he wouldn't try to come see me until I'm ready to tell him that I'm calling off the wedding. I do know I just need to rip the band-aid off and tell him, but I'm just trying to think about what exactly I want to say. Update. So I know this is probably a better question for the relationship subreddits, but the general tone over here looked a little bit kinder. The situation is that my fiancé and I have been together for 2 years and engaged for 6 months. But a few things have happened recently to make me take a step back and realize that this relationship isn't actually what I want. I've been thinking about this for a while now, but I'm still not sure how to explain this to my fiancé. I can write out how I'm feeling pretty easily, but I feel like obviously he's owed a face-to-face conversation about something like this, and I truly don't know how I'm supposed to look someone in the eye and tell them that I don't want to marry them. Right now, I'm avoiding him instead of talking to him, and I can't keep doing that, so I really need some advice. Update. I wasn't able to post this to the subreddit for whatever reason. Someone suggests I post to my profile instead. So I decided to break up with my fiancé. After thinking everything over, I realized that even aside from anything to do with Clark, it would have been the wrong decision to marry him. And I had a conversation with my mom. When I told her what I decided, where she agreed that I shouldn't marry my fiancé for reasons I hadn't really considered, but also convinced me I was making the right choice by ending things. I told him that it wasn't his fault, and it wasn't about anything that he did, but that I'd been doing a lot of thinking and realized that our relationship wasn't what I wanted, and that I thought it would be best if we ended things, and that I was sorry, and I wished him the best in life, but that I just couldn't be part of it. He didn't get upset like I was afraid he would, and it didn't turn into a fight or anything. He basically first said that he didn't understand where this was coming from, and then asked me if it was because of something that my parents were saying and if I was sure, but then he didn't really have anything else to say about it and just agreed that we'd talk later to figure out getting the rest of my stuff out of his apartment. I do think this was the right decision because I've been feeling really relieved since it happened. I've had a lot of conversations over the past few days that have made me realize that I don't think I ever actually loved my fiancé. I was just comfortable with him and thought that was good enough. Update. Hey, since you'd asked, I figured I'd give you an update now that I have one. So I talked to Clark about everything last night, and basically what happened is that he told me that he wasn't trying to come between me and my fiancé or confess to having feelings for me when he told me about how he had almost proposed to me back when. He just told me that story without thinking that it would affect anything. But when I asked, he admitted that while he hasn't secretly been in love with me all these years or anything like that, he has always still thought that we make a good couple, but just felt like he missed his window for anything that happened between us. So I told him that I felt the same way and we ended up kissing. But we decided that we don't want to jump into anything right now because I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things. So for now, I guess we just both acknowledge that we do have feelings for each other, but we're trying to be smart and take things slow. Story 3. Ada for not wanting to pretend to be my twin on her wedding day. I, 30F, have an identical twin sister, and for the purposes of anonymity, I'll call her Jess. Jess and I look so much alike it can be freaky. At one point, when we were still infants, they had to draw a little dot at the bottom of one of our feet, just so they could keep track of who was who for medical reasons. My mom endured the fact that Jess and I were her cute baby twin girls, and treated us as precious dolls who she would frequently dress alike, and always make us do things together. At first I didn't mind it at all because, well, it was my normal, and I do genuinely love my sister, but when we started getting older and I developed my own interests, I would get so frustrated or upset when I either couldn't do something because Jess didn't want to, or the only way that I could do it was if Jess could come with me and vice versa. It sucked because despite our appearances, Jess was the more extroverted twin who liked to go to parties and do sports, while I was introverted and artistic. I was always made to do what Jess wanted to do because me not wanting to be so social was seen as bad, and the only way that Jess would agree to do/endure my hobbies was if I did her homework or chores. When my parents were divorcing, I was over the moon when my dad agreed to let me live with him in another state, and Jess didn't want to move away from all her friends. My mom cried when I had to tell her I didn't want to live with her, and Jess accused me of hating them. This really wrecked me emotionally, and I almost caved, but my dad got me into therapy, who helped me gather the courage to just leave. I never really did shake off the guilt until around senior year of high school, but I never once regretted my choice because of how liberating I felt by getting to just be me. I was slowly able to repair my relationship with my mom and Jess, but Jess and I were never as close as we used to be, and I was honestly fine with that. Fast forward to adulthood, and Jess is engaged to her boyfriend Steve, 36 meters, and their wedding is set for this spring. Unfortunately, Jess was recently in a bad accident and her face is going to need to get cosmetic surgery. She has been crying on and off for days over this because there's no way she'll be healed up in time for the wedding. My mom, Steve, and I have been trying to console her, but it's not enough. Earlier this week, my mom approached me with the idea of dressing up as Jess and pretending to be her for the ceremony and reception so the pictures will look nice. I was floored and gave a hesitant no, because while I do know that this would mean a lot to my sister, I just feel really uncomfortable about it. My mom was upset with me and said that it wasn't a big deal, it was just for the pictures, and asked me if I really wanted to make it so that Jess would have to be reminded of her trauma whenever she had to look at her wedding photos or just not have any photos at all. Ada. Okay, because I've already seen this in 2 other comments, I just wanted to be clear about some things. Jess and Steve's wedding is booked at their dream venue, and if they postpone, which is in about 3 weeks, they won't be able to book it again until around 2025 and families on both sides from coming in from out of state. Apparently, between the wedding costs and needing to save up for the cosmetic surgery, Steve and Jess don't have the money to pay for professional Photoshop. We live in America, and as far as I know, since Jess' surgery is purely for cosmetic purposes, health insurance may not cover it, if any at all. My mom was the only one who actually approached me about this, so I don't know for sure if Jess and Steve know about this idea, and I'm honestly a little of actually talking to them about this in case they're on board and start to pressure me into agreeing. Ada 2. Sorry for not clarifying. What my mom is proposing that I do is that I wear Jess' wedding dress and she wears whatever I was going to wear, and that I just stand in her for when it's time to walk down the aisle, do the entrance at the reception, first dance, bouquet toss, and photo time. I wouldn't actually be doing the vows. Update. Thanks for all your advice and suggestions, as well as affirmation that I have the right to say no. Still dealing with residual guilt about refusing to do things for my mom. So I reached out to Steve first about suggesting Photoshop, And turns out he and Jess were already considering that before deciding to just postpone the wedding, as Jess is dealing with PTSD from the accident and doesn't believe that she is going to be able to handle the stress of a wedding in 3 weeks. I was so relieved and told Steve that I would be more than happy to help with getting the word out to people that the wedding wasn't happening right now. For the sake of peace and Jess' mental health, I've decided to keep what my mom said about using me as a replacement for the wedding photos to myself for now. Jess is really going through a lot, and I feel like this would be like rubbing salt in the wound.